Hello and welcome back to the Games Kingdom. My name's Carl King. Today we're going to be looking at a new game going to Kickstarter on the 28th of October 2025, so just a few days from now. It's Empire by AOM Games. This is their first foray into board games, and this obviously what you see here is still a prototype, so things are potentially changing, not hopefully by too much, but as play testing sort of continues and tweaks and the rules, you may see different things on the finalized board, but obviously as the game goes through the Kickstarter stage and updates, you'll see exactly what the progress is from the game designers, and you will obviously receive a very polished product at the end of the day. The price point entry on this is going to be extremely good. I do know what that is, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to let you find that out yourself. But I have to say, for what you see here, and if I got this game for the money they're saying, I would be more than happy. So check it out. Have a look for yourself. As I say, 28th of October 2025. If you've missed it and the campaign is closed, but there's still time to late pledge, get in on it there. And all else fails, hopefully it will fund, it'll go through production, backers will get it, and it will also hopefully then go to retail, so you will hopefully be able to pick one up at either your local game store or purchase online. So what is Empire? So it is set in the Age of Sail, and your navigators have been tasked with the challenge of discovering new lands and trade routes beyond the known horizon. You expand your knowledge of the world and bring back luxuries to enrich the kingdom while lining your own pockets. Well, that is the spirit of the day, I suppose. So rumour has it that the sumptuous riches of the Indies can be found east or west. The choice, my friend, is yours. Are you going to be able to build a global trade empire to withstand the test of time? Who knows, but good luck on the way. So your ships will start in this area here, so they will move out from that point. All of the ships will start here, all of the navigator ships. Your admiral ships will stay on your board until you purchase them, and this is going to be the new updated sort of pictogram that's going on the board. We will bring that back a bit closer later and we'll run through it, but basically you can buy cards, you can swap coins, you can pay for your admiral ships, and you can pay for your strongholds. So you know you've got a lot of actions that you can take during your turn, as well as moving your ship or ships, and also discovering new places and new riches along the way. So how do we do that? So we get 2 dice, we roll those dice, and those are potentially going to be your movement scores for your particular go stroke turn. So if we are the red ship here, the red navigator ship, we can move from there to a value of either 3 or 5. So what you could do is, if you're still traversing around here, and we have sort of, as you can see, we have actually discovered some of these points already, so you could move back from here, and each of these either small or large blue circles are movement spaces, as well as these areas here, but it's only these areas that will potentially get you riches beyond your wildest dreams. So to move these dice, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 down to the bottom of the board. You could come out into open sea. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you do that, when you hit a space with a dice value on it, you must have at least that remaining number from your initial dice starting point to be able to continue. If you don't, you have to stop, and that's only on the value of the dice you're currently using. So as that was 1, 2, 3, 4, your ship would have to stop there. What you can do then is use your second dice to move 1, 2, 3, and your ship would move along that line and end up here, still out in open sea, but you've moved from one part of the world and you're now going to try and start exploring somewhere else before anybody else has discovered some of those undiscovered riches and benefits. So then the play would then turn over to the opposing player. So they would roll like that. They would do exactly the same thing. So here you can see the yellow player is over here, and again they've got two choices. They can use the 3 or the 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 to there. Now when you're there, you get to look at what that particular token is. So there you see. Now you can either put that down and leave it and use your 6 to continue moving. So you would go continue moving around the board, or you would forego or could forego that 6 and you could use that to turn this over, let everybody know what that resource is, and then the yellow player will take one of their resource markers. They will find that particular resource on the marketplaces, and you then place your marker down, and you also then get from the market a coin from that particular market area that goes on your board, and you can use those. As I said, we'll show you what you can use your coins for in a bit. We'll bring that back, but that's basically how you roll and move and you discover. You've also got an admiral ship. Each player gets one of their admiral ships, and you bring those out by paying for them. So you've got your admiral ship here. That's going to cost you a coin of each value stroke colour. So you've got each of these 5 marketplaces, so you would need to find one resource from each of those markets, collect a coin, keep them on your player board, and then when you wanted to, you could trade that in, and you would take your admiral ship if it was the yellow player, and that would also start out from there. And then that ship, you could use either 1 dice for each, you could use both for one of the ships. So again, you've still got those 2 movements, but once you've got those 2 ships out on the board, you've then got that sort of balance of which one am I going to move, what am I going to do, and you can traverse the board with your admiral ships. If you get to one of these particular spaces, the admiral ship is the only ship that can put down one of the stronghold markers, and again you're going to have to pay for that, and currently that's going to cost you 3 of any coins, 3 of any different coins. So you're going to pay for that, and then you're going to have a stronghold marker down there, and basically that then secures that particular thing. People can't put any markers down, because when you turn over these things here and you've got one of those triangles, again you're going to get a presence in there like a port, and you've got those on the board. Now you can only ever have one of those on each of the stronghold or those sort of markers. But if your stronghold goes to, if a red player then comes along, the red admiral ship comes along and ends on that space, they can put their stronghold marker down if they pay for it, and they will kick off all of these from your opponents, and you will also get the reward for being able to move up on this track. So this is how you get, or one of the ways you get up on this track. And I believe if you've got the stronghold marker, other players can then not go on there and claim the resources. So it's very simple. You've got your dice movement, you've got your resource market where you can spend money, so you can pay a coin and get a new combat card. You can change monies, you can do your admiral ship, and you can do your stronghold marker, and that's going to be printed up on the top of the board there, so everyone will see that. and you'll be able to do some of those additional actions each turn. You will only be able to potentially move twice each turn, but some of those other actions you'll be able to do depending if you've got the funds to be able to do them. So you'll get your money in by discovering resources, gathering money from the markets, putting it on your board. If you end up with at least one resource in 3 different areas of one market, you then claim the monopoly in that particular market, and there is one of these tokens for each colour. So the red player would take the red one, they would place it on their board, and at the end of the game, when the first player reaches the end of the power track, they will take the power token. That signals the end of the game. You count up who's got the most of these monopoly tokens, and the person with the most is the winner. If there is a tie, there are some tie breaks to be able to determine winners, but there may also be some alternative things brought out in some of the expansions and things. You'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, so far with the core game, I'm really liking this. I've played a few turns. Obviously I've sort of messed around with the board now for the video purpose, but I was playing a few turns before I did this video, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was playing double-handed just to get a feel of how the game plays, how the things move, how the resources come in, and it flows very nicely. Once you've got in a couple of turns, you're going to know exactly what you're going to be doing, what you can do with your ships, where you can go, what you can gather, where you might fight enemies, because the admiral ships are the only ones that will do any fighting. They will fight themselves, they can fight strongholds, and you can also fight pirates, because there are pirates on the sea. So if you turn over one of these tokens, you're going to be potentially fighting against pirates. Some of the combats are optional. You don't have to say you're going to fight somebody if you land on the same space. So if the yellow player came in here, they could say, yeah, well, I don't want to have a fight. Sorry, with the admiral ships, not the navigators. But you don't have to fight. It is a choice, but then I believe the other player will get that choice that they can then attack you. The way the combat works is the attacker will draw a card, and it will have a dice value on it. If it is a stronghold, then you draw 2 cards and play both cards. But what you will do, you will draw 1 card off the deck, and then you may have cards in your hand. So at this point, if the yellow player is attacking the red player, the defending red player is winning 4-3. So the yellow player could go, I'm playing a 2 to make that 5. The red player may have a card in his hand. He's got a 1, so he's going to draw, because if you draw, you're still okay. Then the yellow player goes, well, I'll stick a 3 down, so my total is now 8. And the red player has only got 1 card left, and his total is 6. So the yellow player is the winner, and he's going to get the bonus of moving up on the track, and the admiral ship from the losing player goes back to the player board, and you'd have to pay for that to come back out again. So it is risky with some of the combat moves, but also you could be very well rewarded, because obviously you're hindering your opponent, because it will stop them going around the board placing strongholds, because you can't do that with your navigator. So it's just one of those things you have to weigh up. But this is a sort of mid-weight game for me. So you can teach it to new players and people who might not play this sort of level of game. And I think seasoned gamers would also like it, because you can bring it out and play it within sort of an hour, hour and a half, a couple of hours tops if you've got 5 players. There isn't a huge amount of stuff to do on the power tracker, so you can move up there quite quickly. Once you get that sort of side of the game flowing, you're going to gather your resources by moving around the board, taking your money, getting money each turn, because at the start of each turn, as long as you've got a token in any of these markets, you can choose to take one of the coins from that market, and if you own a monopoly or more than one monopoly, you then get to choose from one of those monopolies that you might hold. So in this case, the red player has got one in this market and a monopoly in this market. So they could take the last coin from here and one more coin from there, place it on their board, and they've got those to spend. So there's lots of little nuances that you've got to keep track of, because there's only so much money out there. You've got to keep an eye on your opponents, what they're doing with their money, and then obviously you're going to be battling it out for the resources. You're going to be battling it out ship to ship, or pirates and strongholds, and you're going to keep an eye out where your opponents are on this track, because that will signal the end of the game. And they may want to kill the game off early because they've got a couple of these tokens and nobody else has got them, so they would win. So yeah, there's all sorts of little things that you need to look at and keep an eye on, and that's what is making this game seem very, very thematic and very good. And especially with, as I say, with the price point that it's going to come out at, I think everyone will be thoroughly pleased with how this plays. So get yourself on over to the Kickstarter once it's up and running, and stick a pledge in there, and hopefully it will all fund. So before we go, we'll just have a quick flick through the rulebook just to show you the pages. We're not going to linger too long on it. As I said, some of the things are still up for change. So you've got these tokens which are out on the board. It will tell you where they will all go, and you'll play that way for maybe the first 1 or 2 games, and then if you want to vary it, you can just stick them all in a bag and draw them out randomly for each of the areas. So you'll mix up the tokens, and that'll give you a bit more variability and replayability for that. The monies are shown here for the different player counts, but I believe that they've now been increased on some of those to again give you a bit more money available in the marketplaces. It's got a setup of the map here, so you'll be able to look at the map whilst you're setting up the board, and this will give you again a clearer picture of what you're going to be doing and where you're going to be placing things. A very good turn sequence. That purchase list will be similar to that one up there, so a nice new purchase list. You can do some trading. It's got a page where you'll ship action, so that'll tell you again, that'll just run through you what I've told you there about the dice and how you use them, and whether you're going to do 2 movements, a move and a reveal, or a reveal and a move. It's all down to you and depending on where you are. You've got your settlement action, which is the thing that you do with your navigator, and that's the navigator special ability. So their special ability is doing all the settling, and then the admiral's sort of special ability is the combat. So they can't do what the other ship can do. There's no longer a blockade in the game, so that's not going to be in there. This is how you do your construction of your strongholds, which is again pointed out on over there. This is your monopoly section, so this is the one where if you've got the 3 tokens, you get the monopoly token, but if then somebody else comes along and puts 4 in here, or at least 3, but they've got more tokens overall, they will take that monopoly token off you. You can see some spaces on each of the tracks. They're going to be available for one or more of the expansions. There's your thing about the power tracker and how it tells you how you move up the power tracker, and also that ending the game. The exploration tokens that you pick up from going on different routes, you will pick up those along the way. Crossing the Pacific, which is that mechanic that I showed you there, where you've got these trade routes and you will go along there, and again you will do that with the value of the dice. So getting here, to go across here, you need at least 5 left on your dice, so you might end up staying here for a turn and then moving along, but again you can pay to move. And then you've got your winning conditions, and you've got some of the alternative modes, and then on the back pages you've got some combat. So your general combat between player and player, admiral ship to admiral ship. Then you've got combat with the pirates, combat with the strongholds, and there's only sort of a few different cards in the game in that combat deck, so they give you a nice little explanation of what those cards are. So it's a 10-page rule book at the moment for a game that I think is going to get a lot of sort of traction and a lot of interest. So get in there early, let's get it funded, and hopefully everybody will get some bits and pieces put into their game and the expansions, and this will fly, and we'll see it delivered in due course. So there you have it, Empire by AOM Games. So until we do another one of these, it's bye for now.